I've decided to take some useful information from an authoritative source, mainly IRS.gov, and turn it into Bonzi Buddy asking Microsoft Sam for tax advice. I'll even include a link to the official IRS website so you can get more information. For legal reasons, the majority of this video has to be boring tax advice. Now, if YouTube doesn't want people to do their taxes, they're free to take down this video. Not sure how the IRS would feel about that. Now that I've taken care of the introductions, let's dive on into
Top frequently asked questions for filing requirements, status and dependents.
Yay, taxes!
How much income can an unmarried dependent student make before he or she must file an income tax return?
Well, of course Bonzi Buddy's single. I mean, who would marry Bonzi Buddy?
Hey, words hurt.
Answer. An unmarried dependent student must file a tax return if his or her earned or unearned income exceeds certain limits. To find these limits, refer to Dependents under Who Must File in Publication 501, Dependents, Standard Deduction and Filing Information. You can also refer to Do I Need to File a Tax Return to see if your income requires you to file. Even if you don't have to file a federal income tax return, you should file if you can get money back. For example, you had federal income tax withheld from your pay or you qualify for refundable tax credit. See Who Should File in Publication 501 for more examples.
To qualify for head of household filing status, do I have to claim my child as a dependent?
COPPA compliance algorithm triggered. Scanning video. Video contains references to children. Video's objectives. Federal income tax. The Internal Revenue Service does not typically appeal to persons under the age of 13.
Thanks, YouTube.
You're welcome. Would you like to try YouTube TV?
No, thank you.
Can you please stop interrupting? I'm trying to get help with my taxes.
Oh, right, sorry. IRS, can you answer the question?
Answer. Generally, to qualify for head of household filing status, you must have a qualifying child or a dependent. However, a custodial parent may be eligible to claim head of household filing status based on a child, even if he or she released a claim to exemption for the child. See non-custodial parent is claiming an exemption for my child. Do I still qualify as head of household?
Is there an age limit on claiming my child as a dependent?
You must be at least 13 to create a YouTube account.
That wasn't the question.
Whoops.
Answer. To claim your child as your dependent, your child must meet either the qualifying child test or the qualifying relative test. To meet the qualifying child test, your child must be younger than you and either younger than 19 years old or be a student younger than 24 years old as of the end of the calendar year. There's no age limit if your child is permanently and totally disabled or meets the qualifying relative test. In addition to meeting the qualifying child or qualifying relative test, you can claim that person as a dependent only if these three tests are met. 1. Dependent taxpayer test. 2. Citizen or resident test. And 3. Joint return test.
My spouse and I are filing as married, filing separately. We both contributed to the support of our son. Can we both claim him as a dependent on our separate returns?
Answer. No. A child may only be claimed as a dependent in one return in a tax year.
Yeah, and I'm sure no couples have ever fought over who gets to claim their kid as a dependent.
For more information on which of you can claim your son, refer to qualifying child of more than one person.
Are child support payments deductible by the payer, and may the payer claim the child as a dependent?
In order to determine if child support is tax deductible, Google will now access the child's personally identifiable information.
Initiating Google Data Extraction Protocol.
No, Google, I don't think Bonzi Buddy wants you to—
Android device detected. Forging user consent. Modifying account privacy settings. Extracting data.
Never mind. Alright, IRS, give him the real information.
Answer. No. And maybe. Child support payments are neither deductible by the payer nor taxable income to the recipient. The payer of child support may be able to claim the child as a dependent if the child lived with the payer for the greater part of the year. Then the payer is the custodial parent for federal income tax purposes. The custodial parent is generally the parent entitled to claim the child as a dependent under the rules for a qualifying child, if the other tests for claiming the child are met. If the payer is the non-custodial parent, then the payer may only claim the child as a dependent if the special rule for a child of divorced or separated parents, or parents who live apart, applies. That rule requires, in part, that the custodial parent sign and provide the non-custodial parent a Form 8332, Release/Revocation of Release of Claim to Exemption for Child by Custodial Parent or a substantially similar statement. The non-custodial parent must, then, attach a copy of that release to his or her return in order to claim the child as a dependent.
Can a state court determine who may claim a child as a dependent?
I can answer that. Alphabet LLC owns Google and YouTube. Google and YouTube control public opinion. Conclusion. Alphabet LLC is the de facto governing body of the United States of America.
Google. Shut the fuck up before I smack you with my boring bureaucracy wings.
Expletive detected. According to the Motion Picture Association of America, a movie with one swear word typically causes a movie to be classified as PG-13. The Motion Picture Association of America is classified as an authoritative source. Conclusion. Video is not made for kids. Video will not appear on YouTube Kids app.
Wow, thanks YouTube!
You're welcome. Would you like to try YouTube TV?
Sure, I'll try YouTube TV if you admit you're a publisher.
Yikes. Looks like I could use a distraction. Look, it's a cat, and a snake, and they're doing their taxes. Let's focus on the IRS. Answer to Bonzi Buddy's question.
Answer. Federal tax law is what determines who may claim a child as a dependent. Even if a state court order allocates the ability to claim the child to a non-custodial parent, the non-custodial parent must comply with the federal tax law to claim the dependent. The non-custodial parent must attach to his or her return a copy of the release of claim to exemption by the custodial parent, either a Form 8332, Release/Revocation of Release of Claim to Exemption for Child by Custodial Parent or a substantially similar document.
I am divorced with one child. This year my ex-spouse, who is a non-custodial parent, is entitled to claim our child as a dependent. Do I still qualify as head of household?
See what I mean about filing your taxes separately can be bad for your marriage? Bonzi went from unmarried college student to married with a kid and now divorced.
Answer. You may still qualify for head of household filing status, even though you aren't entitled to claim your child as a dependent, if you meet the following requirements. 1. You're not married or you reconsidered unmarried in the last day of the year. 2. You paid more than half of the cost of keeping up a home that was your home and the main home of your child for more than one half of the year.
I am adopting a child and don't yet have a social security number for the child. How can I claim the child as my dependent?
Have you tried doing a Google search?
I already did that. How do you think I got here? Now would you please let the IRS answer my question?
Answer. As a prospective adoptive parent in the process of adopting a U.S. citizen or resident, you'll need a taxpayer identifying number, TIN, for the child who is being adopted to claim the child as a dependent. If, as the prospective adoptive parent, you don't have and are unable to obtain the child's social security number, SSN, you should request an adoption taxpayer identification number, ATIN, or individual taxpayer identification number, ITIN.
Oh, look at all of these sponsored links for tax.
You ain't dealing with no FTC chumps no mo. This tax country fool, an ATIN, is available if a child who is a U.S. citizen or resident is lawfully placed in your household for a legal adoption. To obtain an ATIN, use Form W-7A, Application for Taxpayer Identification Number for pending U.S. adoptions. For more information, refer to the instructions for Form W-7A, PDF, and to Adoption Taxpayer Identification Number. If the child isn't a U.S. citizen or resident, and if the child qualifies as a dependent, A TIN is still required. To obtain an ITIN, use Form W7 application for IRS Individual Taxpayer Identification Number. For more information, refer to Individual Taxpayer Identification Number. ITIN. Please note that for tax years 2018 through 2025, you can't claim the child tax credit in either your original or an amended return if your child doesn't have an SSN valid for employment by the due date of your return, including extensions. If your child has an ATIN or an ITIN, your child may qualify you for the credit for other dependents.
My spouse and I have provided a home for my niece and her son for the past 7 months. She has no income and we provided all of her support during the year. Can I claim both her and her son as dependents?
Answer: you may be eligible to claim both your niece and her son as dependents in your return. In order to claim someone as your dependent, the person must be 1. Either your qualifying child or qualifying relative. 2. A U.S. citizen, U.S. resident, U.S. national or resident of Canada or Mexico.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems.
Uh-oh, Trump's being offensive again. Get him, HillDawg. Talk about is your TV running?
If you're done embarrassing yourself, can I get back to the tax video?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Finish your explanation.
3. Unmarried, or, if married, not filing a joint return or only filing a joint return to claim a refund of income tax withheld or estimated tax paid. Additionally, you must meet the dependent taxpayer test. If you can be claimed as a dependent by another person, you can't claim anyone else as a dependent. The requirements for a qualifying child and a qualifying relative, as well as additional information regarding these tests, can be found in Publication 501, Dependents, Standard Deduction and Filing Information.
Well, that's the end of the video. Feel free to use the comment section to encourage others to do their taxes. This is the Hypervisor, signing off.